Welcome guys to another episode of the Extra Mile. My name is Alex and welcome to a very special episode today. Today we'll feature this lovely car which you see here right in front of you, and we will not only compare two, not only three, but four sims today. Assetto Corsa, Automobilista 2, obviously RaceRoom, and surprise rFactor 2. Although a little caveat, for rFactor 2 I'm using a mod track and a mod car. Because both the track and the car are not available as official content. I will, however, record rFactor 2 again with official content, so we will give it the best chance, but I just did a very quick test drive and it seemed definitely good enough to include it in this comparison. Another quick note, I will try to be a little bit more concise than the last video, otherwise this will be an hour long, and I don't think that that anyone want to watch this for 60 minutes. So I will try to be a little bit quicker. We will test this car in all sims on Laguna Seca, go for a couple of laps in each sim, and then I will tell you my thoughts. Oh, listen to that. Oh my God. That caught me off guard with its awesomeness. God damn. Anyway, guys, this is it for the intro. I hope you enjoy the show. See you in a second. And here we are in Assetto Corsa. I've switched the post-processing filters, so it should look a lot better than it did in the last episode. The only thing that I will change in the setup, equalize between the sims, so to speak, is that we will use soft slicks, and I will make sure that we have the same amount of fuel, but other than that, we will just go for it. Oh, I love this car. All right. So this will work exactly like we did in the last episode. We will go through four categories: sound, visuals, force feedback, and physics. The last point, physics, obviously is very subjective. This is more about, is it fun to drive? Is it a coherent driving experience? Are there any weird quirks in the handling department? Sadly, I haven't driven this car for real. Oh my God, listen to that. Ah, yes, so I can't judge if it's really realistic or not, but I can tell you if it's fun or not. So anyway, let's start with the sound. I mean, listen to that for yourself. I really like this. So the engine sound fits really well. What I would like in terms of improvement in future sims is to have a clear separation of the intake noise and the exhaust note. But overall, I gotta say, it sounds really, really good. It does look really good as well with its post-processing filter. We get a nice little reverb here. Oh my God, this is... what a car, holy crap. This is a very good start for Assetto Corsa. I think in the sound department, it's always tricky to give ratings, but I mean, this is, to me, an easy 8.5. Maybe even a 9. It sounds really, really, really good. Next up, the visuals. As you can see for yourself, this is a very pretty sim. Obviously, we are using the modded version through the content manager. I'm using the Soul custom shader and post-processing filter, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Whoa, 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 easy there. What a lively car at the limit. But yeah, in terms of the visuals, I mean, I I think this will be tough to beat. We will see, but I think it looks really, really good, and I'm quite curious to see where the very, very talented team behind the content manager will take this sim in the coming years, because what they've done so far is nothing short of amazing. So yeah, visuals, another very strong 8.5, close to a 9, I would say. I really like what I'm seeing here. All right, next up, force feedback. And I've mentioned that in the last comparison episode, that there's a lot to tweak here in Assetto Corsa, especially with the addition of the content manager, where there are even more settings for the force feedback. And I think I have it set up pretty well, but maybe not as good as it could be. There's maybe still room for improvement, but it is still very good. A very solid feel in the wheel. I can feel the curbs when I drive over them. I can feel the rear end stepping out. There's still a little bit of lightness in the wheel around the center that I would like to get rid of, and maybe it is possible through the content manager, or rather I bet it is possible, but I'm not quite there yet. But yeah, force feedback, very solid. This is a very satisfying driving experience. Oh, yes, especially when the car slides a little bit. Overall, this is a very, very fun driving experience. And the force feedback certainly helps. Alright, so let's try to go for some hot laps here. Trying to get my braking points in order here. Lots of grip in second gear. There's no trouble putting the power down, which is not surprising. This is not a super powerful car, and we have soft racing slicks at the back, so I would expect that there's no issue getting the power to the ground. It revs to almost 10,000 RPM. Oh my god. Love that sound of the ref limiter as well there. Come on, come on. All right, here we go. Let's go for one hot lap. Ah, damn, it is fun to go through the gears. It is fun. Okay, brake hard. Nice and tight in T1 here. Lots of grip from the racing slicks. No understeer whatsoever. It's a very neutral setup. Very nice, very nice, very nice to drive. The car doesn't surprise you at all. Everything that it does is pretty predictable. Mechanical grip, not that much weight. I absolutely love this. This is exactly my type of car. High revving engine. I really, really enjoy this a lot right now. And brake. Could have braked a little bit later there, but better to keep it safe than to be sorry. Hard on the throttle in second gear. There's no problem whatsoever to get the power to the ground. Oh, this is fun. I tell you right now, the other sims will have a hard time beating this. But who knows? Maybe we will get a few surprises here today. I have no idea, to be honest. So that was a pretty safe race pace lap, I would say. Over the line. All right. So let's check out the lap time. All right. So the fastest lap was 1:36.8, which is pretty fast here at Laguna Seca, let's be honest. Yeah, that was great fun. Now let's switch over to AMS2 and see how that compares. All right, here we are in AMS2. So let's see. We have, oh, we only have slicks, so we can't differentiate between medium, soft, and hard, which is a little bit surprising, to be honest. All right. Anyway, 30 liters, just like in Assetto Corsa, and let's go on the track and see how she drives. So let's start with the sound, just like we did in AC. Ooh, interesting. Immediately we can hear a lot more tire and track noise. That was the same in our comparison on Wednesday. The engine, for my personal taste, doesn't sound quite as aggressive as it did in AC. All right, so let's go through the gears from the start here. Not quite as exciting as the car in AC was, I have to say. So yeah, I give this one to AC. So far, it's leading in the sound department. Now, visuals. This is interesting. I think with the post-processing filter that I used in AC today, which is the Sol post-processing filter, AC looked a bit better. Not that this is bad looking. It's still a good-looking sim. But I think I would hand it to AC in this one. Not a huge difference, but it just looked a little bit better to me. But yeah, the difference is really not that big. I have to emphasize that again. Ooh, that was close. It is still fun though, which brings me to my next point, force feedback. And this is again where AMS absolutely shines. You have a very well-established connection to the car through the wheel, meaning it actually feels like you're driving a car, not a game. Obviously, you still have vibrations and things that you might not necessarily have in a rear car to help you understand what the car is doing, since we sadly don't experience any G-forces here in the sim. But yeah, right out of the gate, the AMS force feedback profile works really well on my wheel. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. Force feedback is definitely the strong suit of AMS, and I rediscover that with every car that I drive. Solid 9 out of 10 from my part. So far, force feedback, AMS leads the pack. Okay, so last but certainly not least, physics. This is interesting. So the cars at first glance feel very similar, very planted, very neutral in terms of the chassis balance, very stiff suspension, no body roll whatsoever. They are race cars, and you can feel that, and they feel very similar. The differences, I feel, are just that. That was a relatively slow second gear turn. I feel like the rear end, ironically enough, because it was the other way around last time, is a little bit more loose here in AMS2. I have to be a little bit more careful with applying power like that. And in AC, I could really put the power down with less care. I could just stomp on the throttle and the car would take it, which is what I would expect, to be honest. I mean, we have 340 horses, just about a ton of weight, and racing slicks. So sliding around can happen, but power oversteer should be pretty rare. That being said, we don't know what tire is simulated here. It might as well be a hard racing slick for endurance racing. It might be medium. We don't know, sadly. That's an information that is not provided to us from AMS2. We just know that it's a slick. But yeah, you can see that. I have to fight with the rear end a lot more here in this sim again than I had to in AC, which is exactly the opposite of the Assetto Corsa that I compared last, which is very interesting to me. So, around the last turn, again, the rear end stepping out. Pretty interesting. It might also be the default setup. It might be that it's not a thing of the physics engine, but then we could cure that with maybe softening the anti-rear roll bars, the rear anti-roll bars, rather. Yeah, but you can really slide this car, and it kind of wants to slide. I have the feeling a little bit. Too much. But yeah, that didn't quite happen in AC. I mean, this is a little bit, I don't know, too slidey for a race setup for a DTM car. It's the rear end is a little bit too active for my taste. Again, I don't know if that's realistic or unrealistic, but AC felt closer to what I would think the car should feel like, if that makes sense. Anyway, guys, let's take a look at the lap time. We did a couple of laps here, pretty much exactly the same. A second faster, 135.7. We had 136.8, which is interesting because the car in AC felt faster. Because this one was sliding around more, but they are in the same ballpark, and we don't know what tire they use, so I think that's pretty good, pretty close. Anyway, guys, let's go back to, or switch over to RaceRoom and see what's what. All right, so here we are in RaceRoom. Let's check the tire setup. We have soft tires here as well. That's awesome. Where's our fuel? Not quite sure. I don't know. Anyway, soft tires is the most important thing. So let's start the car. Ignition, starter. All right, here we go. Oh, wow. Oh, that is cool. Okay, this should be interesting. Oh, yes. Okay, the ref limiter here kicks in at 10K. We can ref a little bit higher, which is always nice. So, let's see. We start off with the sound. Ooh. Tire sound, very nice, very nice. Very nice. I really like the tire sound. You get this, kind of sounds organic, and you can hear each individual tire starting to lose grip, starting to screech and make noise. I'm liking that a lot. Engine sound is kind of maybe in between Assetto Corsa and AMS2. It's a little bit meatier than AMS2, but it still doesn't have that high-pitched scream that AC had. Okay, one thing that I have to add to the sound of the engine is the backfiring. It's really well done in this game, and I completely missed that from the other sims so far. There's a little bit of drama when you let off the gas. Wait a second. And there are also some pops when you shift. Listen to that. I like that. I like that. I like when sound devs include these little details, and I want to commend that. The engine note itself lacks a little bit of that intake roar, this aggressive roar, but the backfiring and the shift sounds, they're really nice. Now, visuals. This looks pretty good. I gotta say it doesn't look quite as good as AMS did, I feel. I think the cockpit is very nice, especially the lighting in the cockpit. It's really, really good. The shadows don't show any aliasing whatsoever. They're very crisp. Overall, though, it's maybe a tad behind the other two. My line is crap, but it's not much. It's still a good-looking sim. It still doesn't look outdated whatsoever. So yeah, visuals pretty good. Nothing where you would show this to your friends and say, hey, look how awesome this looks. But it is a good-looking sim, and I can't really fault it for that. But maybe not better than AMS and not better than AC in this instance. All right, next up, force feedback, and this might be the surprise of the day. I have praised AMS2 force feedback, and rightfully so, in the last comparison episode and in this one so far. But the force feedback here in RaceRoom does not fall short. It is very weighty. It is the heaviest force feedback so far, and I'm aware that you can adjust how heavy you want it to feel, but we're comparing pretty much the default force feedback setups, maybe a little tweaking here and there. It just feels very solid. It feels very good. It's definitely up there with the AMS force feedback. Let's see. I can feel the curbs, yes. Yes, I can. Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's very good. I would say the force feedback of RaceRoom can go toe-to-toe with the force feedback of Automobilista 2. So I would say in terms of force feedback, we have a tie for first place right now between AMS2 and RaceRoom, which is a bit of a surprise. So, last but certainly not least, we get to the handling. I've driven a couple of laps now with the car, and it's interesting, now that I'm driving the third sim, you can feel the similarities between all of them. Again, this car, very stiff, no body roll whatsoever, very neutrally balanced chassis. This setup here, maybe it's a tire model, it does seem to bounce a little bit more in corners a little bit, so you get this like a little bit of bouncing around in corners, but it's not weird or natural, it's just you can feel it a little bit. Whoa, whoa. In terms of rear end stability, again a crappy line, this seems to be between AC and AMS2. It's not quite as stable as AC was, but you can still floor it in second gear out of this corner without the rear end getting squiggly like it did in AMS2. It's much closer to AC in that regard, that you can really make use of those grippy tires. And remember, we only have 340 horsepower here. This is not a super torquey, super powerful engine. Again, second gear, full throttle, you just pin it, just like you did in AC. Rear end doesn't slide out under braking. Oh, that was lovely. It feels very good. It feels very good. Couple that really high-end force feedback with this solid physics engine. Oh, come on, Mischief. It does feel very good. There we had a little bit of this bouncing in the corners, which again might be a setup thing. Whoa! This is fun. Lots of grip. All right, it's time to go for a hot lap. let's see what we have. The last one wasn't really that fast, so let's focus on this one. Brake hard. Yes, that was nice. Hard on the throttle in second gear. We can do that here. It was not possible in AMS2 to be so aggressive. So AC and RaceRoom are in line when that is concerned. Crap line. Come on. Come on. Oh, love it, love it, love it. Again, the force feedback helps a lot with just selling the car here, making it believable, making it fun. Nice. Nice. This is a fun car. Very stable under braking. Lovely crisp turn-in. Little bit of a butt wiggle there, so we were a little bit too aggressive with the throttle, but you can really, really, really manhandle this car and it will just take it. All right, come on. There we go, let's see. Oh, this is fast. 1:33.4, the fastest time so far. 2 seconds faster than the car in AMS2. But still roughly in the same neighborhood. Ah, that was good fun, guys. That was... RaceRoom did a great job. The combination of the force feedback and the great physics engine and these shift sounds and the pops and bangs, really nice, really nice. Yeah, but now we get to the outsider, so to speak, rFactor 2, which I haven't driven in a long time. So let's switch over there and see what that's like. All right, here we are in rFactor 2. So let's check the setup. Tires. How does this work? We want the we only have hard slicks. Okay, at least they tell us that they are hard slicks. I don't know why we only have hard ones, but I guess that's that. So 30 laps of fuel to even things out, although those 10 kilos won't really do that much. Anyway, let's go drive. So I want to remind you again that this is a mod car and a mod track. Okay, anyway, let's start our analysis here with the sound. Actually, before we start, I want to remind you again that I will do another review of rFactor with rFactor cars and tracks to give it the best chance. I'm very, very well aware that mod tracks and mod cars might not necessarily show what the sim can do, but we wanted to compare this car and this track, and since rFactor doesn't have... Wow, this feels very weird. Since rFactor 2 doesn't have this car or this track, we have to go with mods. All right, so sound. Well, it's not great. The engine sound itself is roughly reminiscent of the 190. We have gearbox whine, we have brake squeal, we have tire noise, but it doesn't feel as good or sound as good as the other sims. So I would have to put rFactor, when it comes to the sound at least, in last place. So visuals, we can make this one short. It doesn't look good. I mean, you can see that for yourself. It looks at least 5 years older as the other sims did, and the other sims were roughly in line. One was looking a little bit better, the other one a little bit worse, but yeah, this doesn't look good. Again, this is a mod track, and I'm sure that the modders did the best they can with this engine. And again, I will test rFactor made cars and tracks as well to give the sim the best chance. But anyway, we have to judge what we're driving right now, and the track and the car are not comparable to the other sims. So, force feedback. This one is a little bit better. It is not quite as heavy or as communicative and intuitive as AMS2 and RaceRoom are. It is pretty good though. I would say so far it's the strongest point here. You can feel what? I think there was a spotter just here, telling me my lap time. You can feel what the car is doing. It's pretty good. There's some weird vibration going on. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but overall it's good. Certainly not great, but good. Again, sadly, I have to rank it last in this comparison, with AMS2 and rFactor taking the crown when it comes to the force feedback, and AC being a close second. Alright, so now we get to the meat, to the physics and the handling, and boy oh boy, what the hell is happening here? I feel like I'm getting seasick, like I'm driving a Cadillac Eldorado or something. There's so much body roll going on that it's hard to understand what the modders were thinking of while they were designing the physics. Check out the dip when I shift. You see that? How it dips? It's not good. It feels like it's rolling around everywhere, really dipping down under braking there. Let's try some oversteer. It does not feel at all like the car did in the other sims, where it was very planted. That brake array felt kind of nice though. Yeah, no, it's not good. It's a mod car, a paid mod. I paid €4.50, and I cannot recommend you to buy this because it is not good. It does not feel like the other cars. It does not feel, I know that much, it does not feel like it should. I mean, the handling at the limit with the force feedback is not that bad, but it just feels like a road car. It's rolling around all over the place. It does not make sense. This is not good at all. If there are rFactor 2 fans out there that are watching this right now and are super angry with me that I used mod cars and mod tracks and say that it's not a fair comparison, I get that. I wanted to test specifically this car between all sims and the track. But if you have a recommendation, if you say, hey man, test this car in rFactor 2, it really is great. Or test this car and track combination in rFactor 2, it really shows what the sim can do. Please tell me in the comments, because I haven't been part of the rFactor community in a long time, and I don't know what to choose here. So if you have a recommendation that I can look at, and you say, hey man, test this car, test this track, and you will see what rFactor really is like, I will gladly follow that. But what I'm driving here and feeling in the wheel here, it just is not up to snuff. It is a whole league behind the other cars. Anyway, let's go for a hot lap. Let's see what kind of a lap time we can manage to achieve here in this sim. And brake. Oh man, look at that dip under braking. It's ridiculous. It really is. I mean, come on, this is a race car. The grip level actually feels somewhat right for hard slicks. You can still get the power down, but you have to be a little bit more careful, obviously, than with the soft slicks. That rumble strip felt good in the wheel. The force feedback is not bad. I think it's just the car's setup. Whoa, whoa, that was weird. Not very fast either, but well, it is so weird. It does not drive right at all. And I'm starting to be a little bit pissed off that I paid money for this, to be honest, for the car, that it is not the track. Oh my god, that was a crap line. That was my fault. But the car makes it really easy. It's rolling and moving around all over the place. It's so weird. It doesn't feel right at all. Okay, last corner, then this is over finally. So, what kind of a lap time can we achieve here? Wow, that was horrible. Holy shit. Okay, so the lap time 135.3, which is pretty much in the ballpark with all the other sims, which is good. But yeah, that was disappointing as hell. I gotta say though that I've tried rFactor 2 last weekend, just when I first installed it, and I tried a few cars, and there was one GT3 car in particular that felt great. That felt really great. So I know that this sim can be better. It's just that the track doesn't look great. I'm not sure if it's laser scanned. Maybe all the wobbling around was a weird track surface thing, but the car was awful. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the modders if you recognize your mod here. It handles like crap. I gotta be honest. I praise games and sims when it's warranted, but that was not great. Anyway, guys, this is it for this comparison. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope I managed to cut it down and edit it to a somewhat manageable length. And yeah, I will see you in the next episode. Next week, I'm planning to do BeamNG. I had some issues with my force feedback lately. It just didn't work at all. But I hope that I can fix that because there's some very exciting news. If it's not Beam, we will find something else. But this is it from me from today. And yeah, I hope you have a great weekend. I will see you in the next episode, guys. Bye-bye.